And we have another story here called Soldier Kid Brother, Money and Regret. My brother's 39.
Okay.
Former sergeant in the Army. He loved it. He was very good at what he did, a real soldier. He would have stayed enlisted if his ex-wife hadn't been such a retard back in the early 2000s.
That's very common.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many guys I've seen get out of the military to chase their kids after they got divorced.
It sucks. He has carried guilt for over 15 years because he played in the Army band while several of his soldiers were sent to Iraq with a different sergeant and were killed in action. Mm-hmm. He feels like he abandoned them. Survivor's guilt is a
bitch.
He did get deployed to Afghanistan, so he didn't just sit in New York the whole time, and he was a machine gunner atop a vehicle, I believe. Mm-hmm. But he never wanted to trust anyone else with his soldiers again. He never saw it as a blessing and an opportunity to be mindful of. Now, his son is in his early high school years. Mm-hmm. His son lives with his mom and stepdad. Standard visitation for my brother. Yay.
That sucks.
96 hours a month the father does not make.
Absolutely correct.
And my brother still doesn't have the future he thought that he would have with a wife and a family, even after several failed attempts. He's low on money, and he's already started the process of re-enlisting in the National Guard, which he did before in his younger years.
All right.
He's thinking about the money promised to him and the regret over his lost soldiers, and that even with a bum knee, sketchy spine, and seizures, the military will take him back as long as he's not 40 years old yet.
Okay.
He's as stubborn as I am, and usually a few months behind opening his eyes to things. I don't know if he just needs to read The Menu by Aaron Clary and learn about self-actualization apart from a woman and a family, or if he just doesn't see that this military is nothing but trannies, women, and gays calling the shots and starting World War III. And in this situation, he would be fighting for the bad guys, the USA and the Globo Homo.
Yep.
Or maybe he doesn't realize that the money they're going to give him is going to be literally worthless, possibly as soon as this year, due to a certain hyperinflation coming down that bailouts are the chosen route of our overlords. Or maybe he doesn't realize how much he's needed here.
Well, here's the deal.
Shit.
All right, going in the National Guard, it's not really that. I shouldn't say it's a big deal because they're still doing that pinko commie crap.
Yeah.
But, hey, listen, I've known lots of guys who did one enlistment, got out, tooled around for 15 years, and then decided they want to go back. And I got it. And it is what it is. I would suggest getting him a copy of my book, The Warrior's Way and the Soldier's Soul, because I talk about survivor guilt and shame and all that stuff in there. Listen, you go to a combat zone, you're going to come back with that. That's just how it rolls. And survival's guilt is brutal. And it literally, where's that one saying? That which weighs an ounce today weighs a ton tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's how survivor's guilt is. In the beginning, it's very minor. And as time goes along, it literally gets so heavy, slows you down, it holds you back, and if you let it, it will crush you.
Yep.
And listen, man, people get killed. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. I was blessed with my guys. I was in charge. I wasn't the commander, and I was the first sergeant and op sergeant for 159 dudes, including the incompetent commander Worthless that we had.
And Dina.
But that was in civil affairs. But my thing is this, I literally got yelled at by the sergeant major of the fucking Army. I had a colonel come down from the Pentagon to chastise me for writing the after-action report that nuked Fort Bliss and Fort Drum because we were not trained to any standard whatsoever and sent directly into Iraq. I later found out that's because my commander he falsified all kinds of training records to make that happen. And I mean, all I could say is if I didn't do what I did and I didn't fight the battles I fought, some of my men would have died. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I was not having it.
Well, that's why you were there, man.
Yeah.
You had work to do.
I would say that's one of my finest hours, that 1 year in Iraq.
Boom. I've always thanked you for your service, brother.
Mm.
Where the fuck are we?
Listen, have your brother watch my stuff, man.
Yeah. He says, I don't want him to feel like he abandoned his family when we really needed him because he did what he wanted to do, just like he feels he did in the Army when he left his soldiers alone to face the worst and was doing what he wanted.
Uh-huh.
It would really just be me here. My parents are basically children. My son is less than 10. His kid is only just now learning how to think. My ex is a retard with another half-dozen useless, retarded adult child brain offspring. There's literally no one else to help me work and plan and round up and direct these people. I know he probably just feels like the only family he worries about is his son, who is somewhat safe with his libtard mom and Boy Scout stepdad. Well, safe for now.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out into the real world being raised like that, it's not going to be so safe.
Yeah, it gets kind of rough for their first 5 years.
Yeah. And maybe I'm just scared to not have my brother with me and what's coming. So he's thinking of serving and getting bonuses and retirement cash. I just don't think money and regret are a very good reason to risk getting sent to fight for the worst version of this nation to ever exist, who hates us and our beliefs. This time, fighting for this nation, I would not feel proud of him, but fear, shame, and regret. And I, myself, have deep regrets about decisions in my past and even influences on him as children. He's my kid brother, the only one that I have, the only man I trust, who always still seems to have it more together than I. I don't know how to reach him. Frankly, he never listens to anyone. And I'm sorry this is long, but thank you for listening. Maybe this can wake up someone else who's considering doing what a man's got to do instead of choosing to stay here and stay alive and help the people who really love him and need him.
Listen, they are hurting for people so bad. They are giving people $50,000 to go into the infantry.
Sounds like
Are
a
you
bribe.
out of your fucking mind?
Sounds like one hell of a bribe.
Yeah, it is a bribe. In 2004 to 2009, the Army was giving $100,000 reenlistment bonuses to any 18 series. That's a Special Forces operator who stayed in.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and that's a guy who the military has literally torn apart thousands of people to find, and then spent countless tax resources and other resources into your making. And they're only going to reimburse you $100,000 to come in for 6 years, to reenlist for 6 years. They're taking somebody off the street and want to give them $50,000. That is a big, I mean, literally, I'd be like, wait, whoa. Well, it sounds good.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But I'm going to go and die for the dude who wants to understand white anger so he can sit at home with his kids that he will refuse to have serve because he never fucking saw combat himself.
Yeah, listen.
Come on.
That's another thing. If we're going to have, top commanders, they need to be battle tested. And in my opinion, all sergeant majors of the Army should come from the infantry.
Yep.
Because the other sergeant majors, like Sergeant Major Preston, that guy, that's the one that yelled at me because I wrote that after action report. I hate that man. I do. I have no respect for that little fuck. I hope I never see him again.
You've taken your fair share of ass chewing.
Oh,
I mean,
God,
it's all part of the business. If you can't take an ass chewing, you shouldn't serve.
Well, if you listen, if you make the rank of E7. You're going to get your ass chewed. That's just the way it is. Because you, as an E7, because I took an admin reduction from 8 to 7 so I could stay in. As an E7, I had enough rank to do everything. I could be the acting first sergeant, the acting commander, the ops sergeant, the team sergeant. I did everything. I literally was doing 6 people's jobs.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I'm just
man. I
talking
mean,
too much.
It's all good. This is why dudes tune in. And for some reason, when you work with me, you go off in the weeds even more. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Do you guys like the weed going off in the weeds?
I guess I just have that effect on you. You know, that reminds me of the time. Can you get me my liniment, Sonny? I'm going to talk about the past.
Well, the thing is as we talk, sometimes it'll trigger a memory. I'm like, oh, I haven't thought about that in years.
Triggered.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.